Hi, I'm Paul with Advanced Track Solutions. Today we're going to do a few demonstrations on some traditional ways to tow with an original tow truck or a classic tow truck, a flatbed, and some of the different equipment that most towing companies have to use to get vehicles out of parking structures, parking lots, just any standard towing anymore. The vehicles have become so advanced now; it's becoming more of a challenge to be able to move some of these vehicles. So we're going to simulate using this vehicle here, basically to simulate what would happen if it was an EV. There again, a newer vehicle with electronic transmission, electronic park brakes, something that you're not going to be able to get the vehicle to roll, to load it easier, and some of the tools that we use right now in the industry. And then after that, we're going to demonstrate how we use the ResQTrack and how it eliminates a lot of those steps that is needed. For one, saving time, most importantly, saving the risk of driver injury and also safety for the vehicle. As you can see, we've got our tow truck here. I also am an owner of a towing company. I'm a second generation owner. I've owned our towing company now for 30 years after my dad retired. So I do have some experience in the industry as well, which is what prompted us to buy our ResQTrack, which I have my original ResQTrack here that we'll be using today versus one of our newer versions that we're selling. This is the first generation ResQTrack. It was actually one of the first ones in the country. It was number 2 in the country, actually. We've had it for about 6 years now, and we use it continuously. So we don't have to use some of these other types of equipment that we're going to be showing you today. Here again, we have our standard tow truck. Pretty much all towing companies have this type of a tow truck. Your standard wheel lift, this one is an auto loader. Some of them have a more traditional style. The lift comes down and they have to put arms in the side of it. A little more physical activity involved in that, but most companies have now gone to the auto loader. A standard piece of equipment on a wrecker is dollies. And there again, this is for the vehicles that are all-wheel drive, stuff that you can't get to roll. These dollies weigh, on this particular truck, about 75 pounds per side. Not very easy to maneuver. Um, Rather heavy. We have the uh, handles here where you can pull them out at least to get it away from your truck, so you're not trying to reach over the side and picking them up. But there again, they're still very heavy and cumbersome to kind of move around. And then we have aluminum dolly bars that we use. There again, the idea to get it a little bit lighter so it's not so heavy for the operators to maneuver this stuff around. But if you're using this stuff on a daily basis, multiple times a day, it's very hard on your body after a while, lifting these on and off the truck and over to the vehicle. And then over here, these are the Go Jack that a lot of companies will use to get them out of a parking spot. Say if it's in a parking lot and there's vehicles all around it and you can't get your truck to line up behind it, they'll use these Go Jacks to get that vehicle out of that spot and manually lift it up using the Go Jack, pumping these up to raise it, and then put one under each wheel. Once you do that, then you have to physically push the vehicle out of the parking spot. At that point, most of the time, these will not climb up the bed. So you'll have to remove these and then move over to the skates where you take these and literally pound them underneath the wheel to get them in there. As you can see, our Go Jacks are very old. I dig them out of the shed because now with the ResQTrack, we don't use them at all anymore. And my skates, something we don't use either anymore, because these are brand new. I didn't have any skates, so I had to actually purchase skates so we could show this presentation today. So these for us are pieces of equipment that we don't use anymore. And then there again, we'll show these with the ResQTrack loading the same vehicle without having to do all these physical activities where basically the machine does everything for you. The only physical exertion that you have using the ResQTrack is once the tires are on here, you put a strap over it and ratchet it down. Uh, Virtually not much bending, no lifting whatsoever. All run by remote control, and drive this whole thing up onto your truck, secure it down on your truck, and away you go. Um, Basically eliminating any type of physical exertion at all on the driver's behalf. So when you're using the dolly, the most dangerous part, well, besides the lifting part, is this part of it where you got to raise the vehicle up. And when you do that, every time you put another one up, you get more tension on it. And what you end up running into is a situation where you've got a lot of tension on that bar. If that bar would slip or break, or you're on the wrong side of it, say if I'm standing here, you let go, this bar is going to come at you. We've actually had drivers knocked out before using dolly bars. So they're a dangerous piece of equipment to use. There's a lot of pressure right here. You can see my bar is actually bending from the pressure of raising that up. So there's really just no safe way to do it. As you can see, when I put that pressure on there, that bar starts to do it, or starts to bend. But there's a lot of exertion on there, and you get it to the locking position. Put the safety locks on it, and then it would strap your tire. And we'll go to the other side and do the same process. There again, making sure to stand clear of that particular dolly bar so it doesn't come back and hit you in the event that it would break or slip out, or you just accidentally let go of it, because it's definitely going to cause an injury, even though it's an aluminum bar with the pressure against it. And the more pressure you have, the worse it is once you start getting to this last wheel, once you lock it in. And there again, we were actually going to go tow it, and we strapped this down, put the strap around it, and then strap the front. And now, like I said, we'd strap the front down, have the back strap down, and then we're ready to tow. So when we get to our destination, we're going to reverse the whole process and carefully try to remove the dollies. They're again doing it slowly, so you don't, get yourself in the way and end up getting hurt doing it. So we'll reverse the process here now. And while you're doing this, there are certain things to be careful of. Say, for instance, with this particular vehicle, that these wheels would roll and these would not. Well, if you're on an incline and you release this part before you let those tires down, this vehicle could run away from you, hit another vehicle or hit somebody else if it's on an incline. So, there's the knowledge of knowing when to release those and when to remove this, so you don't do it too soon or prematurely and create a situation for yourself. The unloading part, to me, is the most dangerous part versus trying to load them. There again, we've got to get that pressure off, and we have to do it carefully to make sure that we're not going to get ourselves in front of it. But the only way to do that with these particular ones, it won't release until I manually put pressure on here and then pull this up. Now I'm putting myself in a very dangerous position by using this dolly bar, because that will not release until I do that. Then it'll come up, but you're putting yourself in the way in the event, like I said, you would slip off trying to release that bar. And then the same process on this particular dolly as well. Now I'm putting myself in a really bad position by doing this, but this is the only way you can release it. Come to the other side and do the same process. These are locks for safety, so you got to release those locks first before you can release the bar. And some people will do it a different way. Since this is our vehicle, I'll show how some people will do it. But there again, it's kind of a dangerous situation, and it actually can cause damage. Or if you're standing in the wrong position, to try to release them like this, you can put underway, or something could let go and come up and hit you. But what a lot of companies will do, and I guess with this, the vehicle just drops down. You can get your fingers pinched by doing that. You can run over your foot if you have a position in the wrong place, and it obviously drops the vehicle down, creating a potential for damage to the vehicle while you're doing it. So there's a lot of factors that go into dollies that you have to be mindful of, and just a lot of ways to get hurt. These are spring loaded. Got to be careful when you're releasing these. You don't get a finger pinched inside there. Very easy to do. Something you always want to wear gloves on, as that will slice off a whole chunk of your finger if you don't. All right, that vehicle has been towed to its destination and we're done. A lot of steps involved to get at that point, but this is how you do it with a traditional tow truck using dollies. Very physical. Now we're going to try to use the Go Jack. Again, something very common that towing companies use, especially in parking structures or in parking lots where there's vehicles on both sides. So for this demonstration, we're just going to pretend that there's a vehicle on each side of this and you can't get your truck to the back of it. So we're going to use these Go Jacks to raise up the vehicle and then physically try to move the vehicle. These are the larger version. On this particular set, I have a smaller set here as well. These probably weigh, I'd say 22, 23 pounds a piece. And we're just going to stick these underneath the wheels, underneath each wheel. Send them out around the wheel. And then they ratchet themselves up through a ratchet process where you have to step on them. Yeah, but the further you get up with them, the more weight you have to put onto them. Get that tire off the ground and transferring all the weight onto the Go Jack. And once you got that tire all the way off the ground, then we'll go around and put them on the other one. All right. And when you're doing these as well, you have to be careful of the surface of your lot. Right now the vehicle's already trying to roll because this particular vehicle, the back wheels currently do roll free, but for our demonstration purposes, we're pretending that they don't. So we'll put the ones on the back of the wheels now. The set that we're using in the back is the smaller version. They're a little bit less as far as weight, but they also can't pick up as much. That's why we're using them to the back on this particular vehicle, because it's less weight back here. But it still shows you the whole process of how you have to do it. Now we'll go around to the last wheel and do that last one. All right, I think our tire is finally off the ground. And now it's ready to roll. But at this point, you almost need to have two people there to move this vehicle, because this vehicle can go in any direction by itself right now. There is nothing holding it at all. So, besides the gravity. So if you're on any type of an incline at all, like in a parking structure, you need at least a couple bodies to be able to move this thing like this, or have something attached to it like another truck, so it doesn't get away and hit another vehicle or hit somebody else. Lots of possibilities for something to go wrong. And so at this point, we had a car parked on each side of it. And we would literally try to come up and push this vehicle. I don't know if I can even do it by myself. Yeah, I can't even move it by myself. I need another person to come help me move it. But this is kind of what you run into trying to move a vehicle with a GoJack. Yeah, I'm not even able to move it. I should be able to move it sideways because I've got a curve here where I can actually kind of push off on it. They're again very labor intensive. There we go. All right, there. Now I got it to move. But you really do need good people to try to move this. It's too much to try to do it yourself, especially with the weight of the vehicle here. Smaller ones you can kind of do by yourself. Very labor intensive. Now that I got the wheels turned, I'm gonna try to push it back a little bit, straighten it out. All right. So we've got it out of our spot. We're positioned where we want to position it behind our tow truck. You can attempt to run them up. I know that these GoJacks won't go up the back of my truck because of the width of how wide they are. And when you try to climb the bed of the truck, they want to kick out. They're again leaving you in a position where it can come out and hit somebody, your driver, or at the very least the vehicle itself, potentially cause damage. So great idea when they first came out. Now technology has kind of changed. For us, they're obsolete. So we're gonna try to release them. That's exactly what I was talking about. It almost hit my video person when it kicked out. Not real user friendly. That's 1 of 4. And this one is worrying me already because it's up against the tire. I'm not sure about this. Yeah, it kicked out on its own. Well, it actually works pretty good. All right, last one. This is exactly why we don't use these anymore. Okay, so now we've got our vehicle positioned out where we want it, out in the aisle or whatever you want to call it, where it was sitting. Still obviously doesn't roll. We got our GoJacks off, and now we're gonna pound the skates, one under each wheel, hook up the vehicle with the cable, and then pull it up onto the truck. Prevent the wheels from dragging. Now some companies will skip this step, and then they'll just drag the vehicle up on the ground. But there's a good potential for damaging the vehicle. And that's why most companies use these skates. So for these, you got to pound them underneath. Get them underneath the tire. All right, there's 1 of 4. There. We're not all the way underneath it. We might have to adjust it, pound them in a little bit more, but hopefully it'll slide up on there, but we don't have to pound them in anymore. Okay, now you got all 4 skates underneath there. I'm gonna bring the bed back a little further, tip it down. We're gonna hook up to the vehicle and then pull this up onto the truck. With one side done, now we'll come over and do it on the other side. A lot of crawling around to get it into a spot where you can hook them up. Okay, so now we're hooked up, and hopefully drag it up the bed. When you go to unload it, you got to reverse the whole process of how the skates underneath the backside. All right, so I got them back in this way, and now in order to get them to move, a lot of times you have to kind of shake them a little bit, which can be hard on the truck. One of your other options, what a lot of companies do, which can be very dangerous, is to unhook it completely. And now we're going to give it a shake, get it off the bed. A lot less control. I'm not doing anything, and the vehicle just going on its own until it gets to that certain point. And then you got to kind of work it, shake it. It's hard on the truck, and also hard on the vehicle that you're towing. So that is the concept of the skates. Next problem is getting these skates out of here. All right, so we got that one. And then we do the same thing for the other ones as well. So, and one other option that a lot of towing companies will do, and it's a little less involved, but still not the best scenario, is while the vehicle is still on the truck where we had it, you pound the skates in on the back side like we did. Now you got your vehicle up on your bed up here. And you take this, run it through here. Gotta basically finagle your way under the vehicle while it's sitting up here. Pull that cable out, run it through this. There again, while the vehicle is still on here, run this through back up towards the front so you can pull it down about 3/4 of the way. And your front tire is probably going to end up about here, and then you don't have to bounce it off the bed as much as I did. Another way to do it. So there's multiple ways, but a lot of them are very cumbersome, and the potential for damage and injury as well to the drivers with all the labor that you're doing to pound these things out. So now that we've got it all off, we're going to move the truck a little bit here. Now we're going to do my favorite part, which is the ResQTrack. Which is no labor involved other than securing the straps down once you get it loaded. So we'll do that next to show that process of how that works. this point, we're going to do basically the only physical labor involved in using the ResQTrack. Strapping it down. And depending upon what vehicle you have, you might strap it down a little sooner. But I always get, before I get the back wheels on there, or whichever wheels are on the ground. There again, not so much bending. Well, that's the extent of your physical activity. One strap for the other side, and that's it. Throttle up, we'll whoop. Now at this point we can move it around wherever we need to move it to. It's solid on there. There again, no threat of any damage to the vehicle or really any physical labor for the operator. Just learning to use the machine. Very easy to navigate. You can get it into a lot tighter places than you can with your bed of the truck. Remote control is operable from about 300 feet away. I can actually get it up on the truck without me even going over there. And so basically how we have it here now is how you're gonna tow it. Like any other vehicle, you'd strap around this wheel here. Around that wheel, you'd use your typical 8-point tie down that you normally would without using the machine. And then there's a couple D-rings on each side that you strap down here with the machine as well. But this is basically how you see it, is how it would be transported. And I don't have it strapped down, but I don't really need to at least get it up to show how it's sitting on the truck and how it's transported. And you can move it around in different directions. You can have it facing the other way on there as well. Once you've got it all strapped down, you're not going to get this movement that you're seeing right now that we have. I'm actually creating that movement, but you won't have that movement. It's very solid, very secure. Off to your dealership, shop, wherever you're going to go with it. Once you get it there, offload it, you can actually put it inside for the dealers in their shops, which is a huge benefit. Most of the time they don't want flatbeds inside their shops, but as you can see, all the different processes that we've done today, this is by far the least physical for the operator, the safest for the operator, and obviously the safest for the vehicle. Very, very little bit of physical activity involved. And just to show you the process, we'll just offload it to show you how that part of it works as well. sometimes when you're unloading it, people get nervous because of how it's sitting on the truck. I'm moving it around quite a bit, but you can also lower it down so it's on the rollers. I just wanted to get past that chain and do that, but you can do it like this and bring it down as well. This way it's not gonna, have that unsteadiness that people get nervous about. It's not gonna go anywhere, but you can do it this way as well if you feel more comfortable that way. It's on the rollers. You can see it as it's coming back. It's on the rollers there. I'll bring it up the rest of the way now that we're on the ground. And now we're all clear. So, and if you really wanted to, load it the other way. I'll send it around here real quick. And now we can do the same process going up the truck. And then we would just do the same thing, set it down, strap it down, and away you go. So if you're worried about it tipping as you're coming down, I'll try to see if I can actually get it to do it. It's pretty well balanced and doesn't usually want to tip. And I'll see if I can try to get it to tip forward intentionally. I can't even really get it to do it, but in the event that it would want to tip down, there again you can kind of do this and then go off with it, as long as you're not scraping on your bed or on the back of your wheels on the vehicle. You can see how it's sliding it down there because I'm doing it off the one track. I can adjust the track height to get it off. Now you can see it on the rollers up front up there. Now it's getting lower, so it's coming up off the ground itself. And kind of a tight little spot right here, but I'm gonna put it in next to the truck here, show how tight of an area you can actually get in. Much safer for maneuverability with it, to be able to move it around. Now we'll take these straps off. Very simple. Take the straps off. a lot of what you're hearing underneath there is the gravel that's underneath the vehicle as the rollers are going over it. And that would be it. Load it back up onto your truck. Now you're ready to go.